What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage, and I'm here with Sin and jokes on time.
Yep.
You are now tuned into Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And
Today,
today we have a little bit of a mixed bag. Um, There's a little bit of movie news to discuss. There's a bit of video game news to discuss. There's a lot of video game news to discuss. Let me walk that back a little bit. It's a lot of video game news to discuss. Um, Before we get into discussing anything, though, Jokes has a job to do.
hmm
Currently, Beacon's link still active. Don't think the Beacon's link is going to become not active. However, we will replace it with a different link to share very
Yes.
soon. Now, Sin,
Yes.
you, sir, have a job to do.
Yes. Let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Embe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Truly and truly, we do. Patreon is one of the best places where you can support us in all of the things that we do. Having said that, our movie of the month this month is a movie called Upgrade on Netflix. I've not seen it, but I will, and we'll discuss it right at the end of the month. I want to remind you that our spoiler boys for Ironheart is currently available for your enjoyment. Please find it on Spotify, find it on YouTube, enjoy it at your leisure for your pleasure. I also would like to take a moment to remind you to look for our spoiler boys on Superman this weekend. Um, Everyone is someone's kryptonite. Remember that. Everyone is someone's kryptonite. You want to put it on a shirt, Sin?
Sure.
Excellent. A good evening, Heather. How are you? Jokes.
Yo yo.
It's time to take it up a notch.
Uh
Scarlett Johansson.
hmm
Scarlett Johansson was a woman scorned by the train that is Disney, Marvel, and the MCU. If you will recall, somewhere in the 2020 era, back in the COVID days, as they say, we received a little film called Black Widow. Do you remember that?
I do.
You do. Sin, do you recall that movie did go to theaters,
It
and
did
then
actually.
very shortly after that, it became available to purchase digitally?
Yes.
Oh, you remember that?
Yes.
Do you guys also remember that Scarlett Johansson took, well, Disney to task? Hi, Candace. Because, in her opinion, there was a breach of contract that basically said, you guys denied me a certain amount of royalties and money
hmm
because her contract was written so that the majority of her pay was supposed to come from the theatrical run.
hmm
And that by them putting it on digital at the time
hmm
diluted her payout. There was a settlement.
hmm
I'm sure it was nice.
Oh yeah.
What I recall at the time is people feeling like this could be a career sentencing for her in some way,
hmm
that she was pushing against a giant, right?
hmm
Well, today, Scarlett Johansson is the highest grossing actor of all time.
Okay.
That's crazy.
All time. Now, I did not say highest
Actress.
paid actress or
hmm
actor of all time. I said highest grossing. What that means is cumulatively, out of her films, she has grossed movies where she was a main or the main star slash
Hmm.
attraction, top billing in the slate. She has earned more money than any other actor, period. Would you like to know what that number is?
Yes.
Let's know that. What's that number?
That number currently, after the premiere this past weekend of Jurassic World Rebirth, which took in $318 million worldwide.
Okay.
Surprising, considering the reviews are
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah.
She is now sitting at $14.8 billion,
Whew.
right? Which obviously is going to grow some more. I don't know
Hmm.
how much more money
Yeah.
this film in particular is going to make, considering what
Hmm.
people are saying about the film. But just to kind of put it in perspective for you, um, Samuel L. Jackson was the previous
Hmm.
holder of the title. His lifetime career box office gross was 14.6,
Mm.
where he played the lead. And Robert Downey Jr. was just behind him at 14.3. So, do you think this moves the needle for her in terms of how they pay her going forward? Now, if you remember, Black Widow was the first movie where it was a big deal that she was getting equal
Hmm.
pay amongst her male counterparts, right?
Hmm.
Like that was
Hmm.
part of what the big deal is. And I would imagine that, especially after pushing back the way she did, right? That turning around and doing movies or a movie like this, that's as big as this is, with Universal, it's not Disney, but it is, for all intents and purposes, one of the biggest rivals to Disney. I honestly
Hmm.
feel like there is a rivalry between Universal and Disney that exists in a way that only the battle between Sega and Nintendo existed during the console wars of yore. Most people don't know, many people don't care, but if
Hmm.
you look at Disney and Universal, there is a very wide ranging tit for tat kind of back and forth that I think not only stems from films, movies, and from the actors and actresses that are in those films,
Hmm.
but also theme parks. I mean,
Yeah.
let's not be let's not pretend that Marvel was not a part of Universal Studios until
Hmm.
Disney bought them, and then they had to be
Moved it all over. Yep.
out
Hmm.
of there.
We're gonna need you to
Now
move
you,
all that over here.
yeah. Now they got Nintendo. You know what I mean? Hold on now. Here we go, Heather, with the Genesis does what Nintendo don't. They were right, because when they said that, there was still only an NES and not an SNES. And even then, Genesis did blood when the SNES did
Yep.
not.
The sweat.
Right. But that all changed. Um, do you think this moves the needle for her? Seriously, I have to imagine, right? That here's the thing. People are saying this movie is bad. They're
Hmm.
not just saying like, it's just another Jurassic Park. Like people are saying it's kind of all over the place. It's very tropey. It doesn't even really have, I guess, some of the, because there's no real surprise left, I guess, for Jurassic Park. If you know what I
Right.
mean, if you will.
Yeah.
I said that.
People are saying that the writing feels like it's all over the place. And look, I am quoting what I have heard. I didn't see it. I'm also not
Hmm.
interested in seeing it,
I'm
partially
in the
because
same
it's
place.
Jurassic Park again. But I have to say, I'm positive they didn't spend 318 million making this movie, which means that they are probably very near to clearing a bit better than breaking even, because you do
Hmm.
generally have to sell almost double what you spent in order to break even in a lot of cases, right?
Hmm.
Um, that notwithstanding, I would say that to have an opening weekend that does this well, unless the drop off is ridiculous, which it could be, it very well could be for a couple of reasons. One, people are saying it ain't great. Two, Superman's coming out.
Superman.
Yep.
And so there is also a part of me that's like, maybe it did well because people are like, well, let me go see this now because
I ain't
going
gonna be able to see it. Right.
Yeah.
Also, high grossing, very well done holiday weekend. Remember me questioning and being like,
Mhm.
I don't understand why they moved Superman to the weekend after
Right.
4th of July. Like you would think they want it there. Now I'm starting to think they might have been trying to get out of the way of Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
Could be. Yeah.
Because while people are like maybe had enough of Jurassic Park in some way,
It's still a huge property and a big name.
and they still always do super well. Superman might have been like, let me move. Because also people are like, kind of, there's still a lot of, I think, sentiment about what like superhero movies do and how that works or whatever.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. Andrew says, hey guys, hope you've been well. Marvel and Universal Florida is still there because of them being there already. You won't see any rise based on some properties already in Universal Orlando. Yeah, they are scraping it out. It's there because the licensing contract
yeah.
allowed them to still have some of it there. They have moved, like it's not all like it was. And eventually it will be gone. But you also have to remember that means that Universal is still paying a licensing fee to the enemy, to Disney, in order to have it there. At the time that deal was done with Marvel, Disney didn't own Marvel. And so paying licensing to Marvel so that they could have something that could compete with the House of Mouse made sense for Universal, right? Like, now they have some other things that really can compete, your Minions and that kind of stuff. That stuff wasn't in place when they did that deal.
Yeah.
But now that stuff being there means that they're paying out fees to Disney, which is like, even if it's a draw, like they don't really talk about it. Like it certainly isn't the thing that they advertise to get people to come to the park. Like it literally used to be like, here's the Universal logo and Spider-Man is like right on top of the joint. Like that was like the thing. So I have to imagine this has done well enough for them to greenlight another movie.
Yeah.
Which probably just me, like for all intents and purposes, Scarlett has replaced Chris Pratt. I don't know what kind of contract she has. It's probably for multiple films, assuming the film does well. True. I would imagine that this is done well enough that they're probably going to greenlight another film. Also, she's still going to show up. Listen, dead or not, there is no part of me that believes that Scarlett Johansson is done with the MCU.
I will agree with that.
Even though there probably is a little bit of like, you took us to task, blah, blah, blah. We have a new widow. We don't really need you or whatever. The reality of it is it becomes harder to turn down even a basic cameo from a person who is the highest grossing of all time. It worked for Robert Downey Jr. And like regardless, she'll get other jobs and continue to add on to that gross.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
She's still, all things considered, the truth of the matter is she's still a lot younger than either one of the two of them that are the next closest to her. You would think that Tom Cruise would be in that
somewhere
in there. Yeah.
Nope.
Tom Cruise don't have a Marvel joint.
Facts.
Not
yet.
The joints are the Marvel, like they're the mind you. Also, she was in like the Jungle Book, like when they redid the Jungle Book. You don't see her, but you hear her. She's singing songs. She's on the soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? Like she getting, like, there's a little something there's a little something there.
Okay, she
I
definitely
think
has negotiating power.
she
going
does
forward.
have a lot of negotiating
Yeah.
power.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it opens the door and creates a lot of negotiating space for women.
Hmm.
I do think that it does mean that like there are many more people / women / directors / whoever who are going to be looking at women for more action type roles. Like
Mhm.
they're not. There isn't a drama that's bringing in that kind of movie, that
Right.
kind of money,
Nowhere
right? It's
close.
gonna be something that's you have to be in a position. But generally speaking, even just a few years ago, for an actress to have top billing in a film like this, under most circumstances, she would be the damsel in distress
Right.
in some
Right.
sense. And
Right.
there would be some man like Mahershala Ali is definitely playing a backseat to her, but it is the two of them really, like, you know what I mean? So I just think, I think it speaks volumes. Hey, Nana. Says, how are you this evening? I'm doing well. Jokes, how are you this evening?
Doing good.
Good. Sin, how are you this evening?
I'm actually doing pretty good.
Excellent. Nana, how are you this evening? Let us know in the chat below. Yeah, look, I think Scarlett Johansson got movies I don't care nothing about.
Mhm.
She's got action
True.
films. Lucy, not
Right.
good.
Ghost in
Ghost
the
in the
Shell.
Shell,
Well,
not good.
I never
But
watched that. Throw that in the garbage.
but I would say it probably did pretty well.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially initially first
Like,
week. Yeah.
yeah, and for who she was and what, like, outside of the whitewashing backlash that is, why are you putting Scarlett Johansson in this role, right?
Hmm.
It's an anime, it doesn't have to be, whatever. Outside of that, I would say that the initial run of it probably did well enough. It's clearly adding on to this, right? Like, as a whole, she's got,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but the sheer number of films that she's been in, and again, we're not talking about like Iron Man 2. She's not,
Mhm.
I don't think she's considered a main
I
character.
don't
She
think
was
so because
like a side.
supporting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say she was more of a supporting character in that, but everything that she's been in since then, I would say she's
Yeah. Top billing.
yeah, in that
Yeah.
run. Now she's in that run with a lot of other names in some cases,
True.
but she's up in there. It's interesting. I think it's cool. I think it unfortunately means we're gonna get another Jurassic Park, Jurassic World.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's the
What should
same
they
thing
do?
over.
Like, this wasn't part of the plan, but like, what should they do with Jurassic Park? And
Leave it
I'm asking
alone.
it as a fan of the original one. I almost said the original trilogy, and then I was like, I guess to some extent, like, I'm a fan of the original trilogy. What do they? Jurassic Park. Let's also bear in mind that, like, when we think Jurassic Park, we think about the movies.
Mhm.
Yes.
Look up the sheer number of games
Yeah, I was
that
saying.
exist for Jurassic Park.
Stupid
Like
amount.
park building simulators, creators, like
Hey,
survival
listen.
horrors. Like, it
That
is.
first jump that they had like in Chuck E. Cheese, that was like kind of like the first of its kind when it had first come out. In there for like
I'm gonna need a
ages.
better description.
Yeah.
I can't think. I can't think of the
That
name of
jump
what it like.
that was the first of its kind that when it came out is not like I don't
It
know what that
was.
means.
Like, it's hard to explain. Like, okay, let me
Are you
rewind
talking about the
because
one where you sit down inside of it and it looks like you're riding a game
yeah,
of Jeep
yeah,
and you're shooting? It might have been the first of its kind. I feel like it
it
wasn't.
was
Like, I feel like there was other stuff, but I feel like nothing else
with the
had a
Jurassic
license
Park
like
name
that.
on it. Yeah,
Yeah, that, like, without a license probably didn't have anywhere near the same amount of appeal, as what that had. there's a lot of money and power in the Jurassic license,
Hmm.
if you will. So I get that. Just movies. What do we need to do?
They need to leave it alone for a while.
Do they? Because
But
it
here's the
feels
problem.
like people are
They're
going to see it.
even though it's the same thing over and at this point, even though we technically kind of did this,
Huh.
but I feel like one, they keep going to some place you guys have no business going. Stay away from this place. Like people have died, whatever. At this point, the dinosaurs just need to come back and take over Earth, and like they're kind of like people are just struggling to live. I feel like that's the only thing that's like different. I feel like they could do
Is the
because
dinosaurs have taken over the earth? Is that what you said?
at this point, yeah, like literally they have had a full resurgence. The world is now repopulated with
Oh, you talking
dinosaurs,
about just like a straight up apocalypse,
almost type of thing.
like a
Because
dinosaur apocalypse.
kind of thing. Because at this point, like we keep doing the same thing. We
This
keep
whole
going
world,
somewhere. We keep going somewhere that we have no business being, and we expect a different outcome. I don't I don't get it.
park is torn down. Let's try it again. Do a little different this way.
No, no. Hey, let's go to the place that apparently was like the secret place where they originated everything, and let's see what we find there. Like, like I just, it's the same. It's the same story
Series
over
of
and
bad
over again.
decisions.
Like,
I look. I believe that there is always going to be space for there to be people who believe that they can do the thing that nobody
Better,
else can
yeah.
do. Like I can survive it or whatever. I also think that somehow they do consistently. Jurassic World is a little bit different. Like they had really like opened a park and there were like hundreds of thousands of people in the park. Like that joint was up and
It
running.
was, yes.
Everybody knows about it. We're like the thing about the first three movies was kind of like, even though we're going back to this place we shouldn't go,
hmm
there are a bunch of people who really don't know. Like, not that a Tyrannosaurus didn't make it back to like San Francisco and
It
we
did.
bought it back. We bought it back. Like,
what I mean, yes. What I'm saying is it's not like people don't know it existed, but like, then it was like, oh, this is not that island, it's the other island. What other island?
Right.
Aha, right? Like, so like I'm cool to an extent. There's a part of me that feels like outside of the discovery of like seeing giant dinosaurs for the first time, which like really I get it for the people who are going for the first time. I even get it for the consumer, for us as a viewer who are
mhm.
going to the theater and taking kids, like Cuddy mentioned, like they keep doing stuff for kids, so it's not going anywhere. Like there's a whole show. I don't know if y'all know, there are multiple seasons of a Jurassic Park show, like an animated Jurassic Park show. It's like a computer animated Jurassic Park show that's on Netflix. And there's like 3 or 4 seasons of it. Like, no joke. Jokes, just look it up. Just look it up. So I get it. And again, like you want to bring kids, like you have a theme park and you have a Jurassic Park area of your theme park and you want kids to come and you need to make it relevant, more relevant than a movie that came out in like 95. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an important thing to do. So I get that. There's also a part of me who's just like, just make it a survival horror. Like,
I was
make
just
it a
thinking that.
horror.
A
Give me
suspense thriller or something like that could be fire.
like, 'cause there are moments of suspense, obviously, in all of them.
Yeah.
Like they do that, right? And there's always some of those scary, but it's always like we have this really, really quote unquote super bad military person. And like Jurassic World was like, we have this dude who can talk to dinosaurs. That was like
Yeah.
the stretch. You know what I'm saying? But all right. whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's not truthfully different from the King Kong movies. Like it's the the fact that Godzilla and King Kong are existing and doing well these days does mean that there's definitely a space for Jurassic Park. But like, if you're not gonna give me they're the same. It's universal, and you already trying to make a monster verse. I
Fuse it with the
just feel
park.
like
Just
I
have
feel like King Kong got to show up.
King Kong,
At
Godzilla need to just take on the dinosaurs. Is that what it is?
I'm just saying, dog.
Jurassic Park would get Molly
There's
Wops.
Hey, listen,
dinosaurs in
King
King Kong.
Kong,
Like they're still
King Kong,
there. So
Godzilla
like,
versus Jurassic Park.
I'm just saying that like, if by some chance some of the dinosaurs they keep finding, like when they get there, there's all these dinosaurs. If some of them happen to be coming from that same place, like deep in the Earth's core that King Kong and Godzilla exist in, and it's like, oh, we didn't make these.
What are
Where
these?
did they come from? Like, I just want the
What are
scientists that's like,
those?
yo, we didn't make those. We didn't do that, you know what I mean? And just be
Yeah.
like, where did that come from? And then have Kong come out and just be like, if y'all don't leave my island alone with all my, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I don't know.
Put hands on you
Here's
tiny
the thing.
humans.
I don't think it's going anywhere. I just don't know what it would take for them to do something that would actually make me want to go to a theater to see Jurassic anything again. So yeah, I'm not on the ride, but I'm happy for Scarlett. So
Yeah,
definitely
good on that. All right, look. Last week, the news just kind of kept pouring in. There was a lot of layoffs. There was a lot of layoffs at Microsoft, like 9,000 people from Microsoft. Xbox as a whole was obviously affected by it. There were some statements that were made, by Phil Spencer and Matt Booty in emails they sent to the teams. For the people who were being let go or who were no longer going to have a space and whatever. I personally think that the letters were about as respectful as you can be in a letter where you're writing to tell people you're getting laid off. However, messaging being what it is, a lot of people are upset because in the messaging that came from the top, from like Phil and from Matt Booty, they kind of reiterated that Microsoft's doing incredibly well. Like, our numbers are crazy, and that people being laid off is not a reflection of their work or their art or whatever. It's just kind of, I guess, the nature of the redundancy of the world we live in. And so, like, the video game community has kind of been out of shape, and I do understand it. I think it's very frustrating to watch an industry like this that does make so much money not be able to take care of the people who create the products that do well. And I think the issue is how forward facing it is. But and there's been a lot of fallout. So they shut down the Initiative, which was their big quadruple A studio, self-proclaimed by them, that was making Perfect Dark, the game that they've been working on for since 2018, that we saw hair nor height of until like last year. And what we saw last year looked pretty fake, but devs have come out since the layoffs last week and said it wasn't fake. It that was actually playable, whatever. Which, okay, you don't have any reason to lie. You don't have a job, so
right.
There's no reason for you to say that it wasn't. But that was the two big things. Was they canceled Everwild, which was the game coming from Rare, after Sea of Thieves, and some of the people who have been at Rare like forever left. They shut down the Initiative, which again had all kinds of people, but that studio had a lot of shuffling and so forth the entire time. So for that studio to get shut down and for them to have never released a game, they haven't done
Right.
anything. Like the only thing they did was help release that Matrix Unreal Engine
Engine, I
5.
know the little trial
Like
thing.
that's it, right? That's the only thing that we saw that we ever got to play or touch that came from them. So it is pretty sad. And again, I understand it's disheartening and a little bit disjarring, right, to have something like that happen. In the preceding fallout from that, there were other studios, most notably, or at least most vocally, Romero Games. So if you're not familiar with John Romero, he is one of the creators of like Doom. He had a game that he was working on. Apparently, their funding for their game came from Microsoft. Microsoft was going to publish it or whatever. And so not only did they shut down studios and cancel those games, but they pulled funding from a lot of
Funding.
places where they were doing funding. And according to Romero, they had a meeting with Microsoft the day before. And of course, nobody
Wow.
mentioned anything.
Anything like
Nobody
that.
said anything, right? And according to them, they were doing great. They had been hitting all their milestones, everything they were supposed to be doing. When they check in, everything was going like the way it was supposed to be going. So again, I understand the frustration.
Yeah.
In subsequent fallout from that, the founder of Arcane Studio, a studio that is owned currently by Microsoft, it was acquired when they acquired Bethesda and so forth,
Hmm.
um, came out and said, like on Twitter, like, why is nobody talking about the giant elephant in the room? Game Pass. Game Pass is unsustainable. And the fact that they seem to have infinite money, it's still not sustainable and it is killing the video game industry. Like it is killing the industry. Before I go any further into this, just based on kind of where we are, what happened last week, and that statement, do you agree, yes or no, Jokes, do you think Game Pass is killing the video game industry and is unsustainable?
Maybe just from the outside in. I don't know if necessarily killing it is probably the proper term. I know it's easy for companies to be like, "Oh, hey, throw this in there. Everybody has access to it. They can download it. They can play it. Cool." And we know they get a portion of the proceeds of however it is that they figure out how that works for those companies to get money. But
Right?
I know that that number has got to be substantially different than that of if you just release the title and you get the funds from that on there for it. So I
Yeah.
can definitely understand from that standpoint where it is hurting the gaming industry on it for it. I think for consumers, you know what, it's an absolute great thing to be able to pay this one fee, be able to access all these gaming titles. But after a while, you kind of understand, why some games come out of it. You know what? Hey, we're taking this game out, but now you can buy it at the normal price. You get like a little bit of a discount on it. But it's like if you've already played the bricks off of it, you've gotten all the achievements and anything like that. It's like at that point, why do I need to go ahead and now buy this game now that I have completely done everything? Unless there's additional content that's announced that's coming, whatever. Um, but in looking at it that way, I can see how it will hurt the industry as a whole on there for it, especially from a company like Microsoft. They have eggs in other baskets that get them tons and tons of other money that they don't necessarily see that drop in the hat hurt them for it.
So what do you think?
Uh, my initial reaction, I do feel it's kind of harsh. Like Joe said, as a consumer, yes, we all love it. It's great, especially the way the economy is right now. You can play this one flat fee a month and have access to games to play, with your friends or by yourself, which is great. And I can understand it from the creator's perspective, where you would like to have all that money yourself. You want to see people buying your product, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
without knowing what his points are as to why he thinks it's ruining everything, I find it hard to just side with him. I think, like I said, right now, I just think it's a little harsh. I can see the pros and the cons on both sides. I think it's right now the way everything is. I think it's better. I think Game Pass works right now. How to sustain it in the future? Who knows right now? I can't think of a way to see sustaining it like further down the line besides giving us great deals and making sure we have a good flow of content coming throughout that people want to play another stuff. People just want to get in there to people get their hands on it without tightening the stuff like that up. I can't see it, what the other way would be right now.
Um, here's my personal take on it is I don't think he knows what he's talking about. And I'm saying that as a person who believes that he is speaking out of place of anger,
Mm-hmm.
which I do understand. I think that I think that anytime you spend time like dealing in the inner workings of an industry,
Mm-hmm.
um, there are good deals and bad deals. And in what we do know about Game Pass and like how Microsoft handles those deals with the developers that put games into Game Pass, for everybody that comes out and says it doesn't work, it's unsustainable or whatever, there's somebody else who comes behind them and goes, nah, like this joint is working. Like I'm getting, you know what I mean? I'm seeing the results.
Mhm.
Here's what the numbers are. This is what it looks like, right? I I I I would be so willing to wager my next two paychecks that everybody's deal is different in some manner. That this particular company that is smaller and has this, they go in, they negotiate a contract that says, yes, we're going to put our game on Game Pass. It is going to be on other platforms, but it's coming to Game Pass. It'll be in Game Pass day one. And what kind of dollars and cents they get out of that is based on the deal that they work out, right? Contractually. It could be like we see games that go into Game Pass that, again, they're out for everyone that day, but they are also on Game Pass. And if you have Game Pass, you have access to it. You don't have to quote unquote pay for it. We see games that come to Game Pass that are only in Game Pass and only on Xbox and are not on other platforms, right? And maybe that has a different effect. We see games that come out on everything and then eventually end up in Game Pass, right? It could be that this person, because this is the founder of Arcane. This is not a person who is currently at Arcane. It could be that this person looks at it and they see it and they go, as a first party studio, it doesn't make sense for us to spend the kind of money we spend making the kind of games we make. And then those games have to go into Game Pass and there is no option or whatever. At the same time, there are small teams who are going, without the funding that came from me agreeing to put my game in Game Pass day one, I could not have completed this game. This game wouldn't exist. There would be no game, right? And I think that speaks on both sides. You have stuff like Claire Obscure, which comes out and is an industry indie darling that does crazy numbers, and it's a great game. And they apparently figured out how to work their budgets and how to get the work done to put out a game that was quality and make it work for them. And I don't know what the deal is that they did with them, but I know that for whatever reason, it seems to be successful. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the fact that everybody doesn't find or see that success, what does that mean? Does that mean your marketing plan and how you are telling people that you're available on Game Pass, but you can also buy me on Steam and you can also buy me on PlayStation and you can also buy me on Switch? Your marketing plan isn't up to snuff. And so therefore, does it mean that you got the budget and you didn't spend the budget the right way? You paid people and work didn't get done, or you know what I mean? Like it's very, very, very difficult to look at something like Game Pass and say that Game Pass is damaging the industry if you weren't looking at I don't know, free to play games on mobile and saying that's what damaged the industry. Because the reality of it is something like Game Pass isn't born because Netflix is successful. It's born because people who are playing games are moving to free to play models. They are playing games and spending more time playing those games in games that are free to play, and then they are spending money on cosmetics,
spending a lot of money.
right? And there is a lot of money that's being generated in those spaces. And as a creator or a creative in a space, hey, say, is a creator that's in that space where the world is ever changing and the way that people are playing is ever changing. If you are still creating games the way you always made games, and you are making games that work the way they always have, and the way that people are consuming games is different, and you haven't adjusted to that, I don't think that's a Game Pass problem. I think that's an industry problem, right? So I'm gonna let me say this. For the gaming industry to continue to sustain itself, the budgets have to come down. This is not just game. This is across the board. Like, we are seeing the same thing in movies. Like, we've had conversations about like what Netflix is doing and how Disney is changing the way that they're greenlighting movies, right? And where they're putting their budgeting. We're seeing that people who are well known, a James Cameron, a Michael Bay, can't get their ideas, their movies funded by major Hollywood studios because they don't want to spend the money to do it, and then not necessarily see the return on the investment. So the budgets for making games have to come down. And in order to do that, you have to lower the amount of people that are working. And in order to do that, you're going to use AI. When you have a company like Microsoft that is fundamentally spending their money investing in AI, whether you like it or not, it's taking jobs away. There's no two ways about it. That's not a video game thing. That is a world thing. That is in every industry thing. When was the last time you went grocery shopping, Jokes?
A couple days ago.
Great. When you went a couple of days ago, how many self-checkouts were there?
Probably like 8 or 10 of them.
But they didn't used to be there at all.
Nope.
So there's one person, maybe two, for 8 to 9 registers. And you check yourself out. That used to be filled with people. Each one of those registers would have had to have a person there.
I remember when they installed them things. Oof.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, and it's across the board. It ain't just grocery stores. It's Lowe's.
It's regular.
If you walk into CVS,
Target.
you walk into CVS, there are people in the pharmacy, and there's nobody else working unless they putting up freight. There's nobody behind the regular counter. They like
fast food places do it now too.
That look like
just
ATM.
like you said, fast food places do it now too.
Yep.
How long did it take for ATMs to replace actual bank tellers?
Dog, that took.
Banks are shutting down like it's nobody's business.
For someone that worked at a bank, for someone that worked at a bank, it was like we got machines that what they could do was, instead of having tellers at every single branch, they had like one location where they brought in XYZ amount of people and they can come up on screen. And like literally, we were at the point where it's like, no, you guys need to make them go to those machines and not to an actual teller. And like we only had one teller because of whatever random issue. Like someone would be like, I can't do this transaction here. I have to go to the teller. Nope, you got to go there first. We can only send you there if it doesn't work there.
Yep. And this is my point on that, is that this isn't even an AI thing. It's just a technology thing. It's just like, I will tell you right now, look, Jokes, you and I worked at Best Buy together, you know what I'm saying, for years. Sin, you've worked retail. Like, you go and they tell you, hey man, you got to sell this many protection plans on your stuff, right? But anybody will tell you that statistically, self-checkouts had a much higher percentage of getting people to buy the protection plan than a human talking to them, because people just didn't offer it. You didn't offer it, or you didn't offer it the right way, or whatever. And just having it pop up on screen and be like, you want to do a protection plan for this much? And people just hit, yeah. You know what I mean? And whatever, the percentage is way higher, right? So like, if you can make more money by replacing a person, because that thing, that machine, that screen offers them a thing that you've been telling people for decades to offer them this thing, right? And it does it at a much higher percentage, and you're not paying them hourly to do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
AI is just like it's going to. So like, if Game Pass is ruining or damaging the gaming industry, is PlayStation Plus not ruining the industry? Are there not games that you can play on PlayStation Plus or games that come day one to PlayStation and PlayStation Plus? It's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still a
Slight difference.
subscription model
Yeah.
that you need in order to play online, which is what Game Pass is. Like, you have to have
Mhm.
Game Pass core to play online. What is the actual difference? If that's ruining the industry, Steam sales aren't ruining the industry. The pricing of games on Steam alone, right? Anybody will tell you that if you're doing PC games cost less than console games,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
They do. They cost less. Then you do a Steam sale and joints are $2, $1, even if they're older. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still don't see sales like that on PlayStation and on Xbox, and you definitely don't see it on Nintendo.
Yeah. Never. No. No.
You know,
Be
Steam
lucky to get a
sales
sale on
Yeah.
aren't damaging the game industry. Like it's very easy to take the momentary angry.
Mm-hmm.
Dana says PC also goes on sale way more often. And you know what? I'm not even positive that's true, because I'm telling you right now, there's like 4 sales that are going on in the Xbox store right now.
And I'm
They
pretty
got
sure I can boot up
they
the
got a
PlayStation.
buy one get 2
Free.
free. Buy one get 2 free going on Xbox right now. That's been running for like a week.
I need to look into that.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
or it's like, oh, here's the summer sale. Oh, here's a Capcom sale. Oh,
Yeah.
like it might be a publisher sale or it might be whatever.
Yeah.
But you're right. Steam sales, not only are they frequent, they're extravagant. You know what I mean? Look, so hold up. Let me turn on my. I'm just. It's very interesting. And again, like, look, I'm not an industry insider. I'm not working at a developer or whatever, right? But I think in a lot of ways, a lot of what I hear, a lot of the rhetoric that comes out of stuff like this, the fallout that I hear from this podcaster here or this person that works at, like, I don't know, IGN or, you know, whatever, some video game site or whatever, as they kind of steamroll the corporate America, whatever, and then like after kind of like desecrating Microsoft, go, well, it's not really just them. It's like all corporate. Yes, it's not just corporate. It's just capitalism. Somebody at the top making way more money wants to keep making money, and somebody tells you, in order to do your job, you got to do better at it. You got to save us money. And the way they do it is they cut other jobs, right? Zayna says the amount of games I've spent money on since getting my PC has gone up exponentially, which, again, makes sense, even though a lot of them, you might be buying games that are already in Game Pass. You're not even looking. You might already have access to those games.
Mm-hmm.
But the pricing is just like, but that's the other thing that I have, right? What does it really mean, right? When games go on sale and they're so inexpensive, you're just buying them. How many games have you purchased that not only have you not completed, but you haven't even started?
Valid, a good amount of them, because like when they go on sale and like that sale price is like, it's like $10 for a game that's typically like $70. I'm like, oh, let me put this in here. At some point in time, I will go boot this up and play it.
They almost got me yesterday because what was that? What's that Star Wars game that just came out? That Outlaws. That joint's on sale for like 50% off, and the DLC was in like the buy two get one or whatever. Like, and here's the thing: it's weird because the regular version of the game, just like the standard version of the game, $70 regular price. The ultimate and the gold are on sale for half price. So you can actually buy the second tier with the DLC right now, $45, while the regular version without the DLC is $70. You know what I'm saying?
And boot up my Xbox. I got purchased to make.
You can spend a little bit more than what you would spend for the regular joint and get the
ultimate edition,
because it's half price, which is regularly like $129 or whatever, and right now it's like $62 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so tempting to go in here and get a couple of these things.
I almost did it. I was about to pull the trigger, and then I was like, I'm not gonna play it on time.
So
I'll
they got
wait
me a
till it
couple
goes
weeks
on sale
ago.
another time.
I got them
Things
last
free
two.
up
I
on
got
the
them
web.
last two Resident Evils that was on sale. I was like, let me get them. Let me get them. Yeah.
And you
I
know
need
what
the
came out
basic.
today and I forgot about it?
What?
Tony Hawk Pro
Tony
Skater
Hawk
3 and
came out
4.
today.
It
I know.
sure as hell did.
No. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
Ooh.
right, look. So I just is it not bad if Steam stuff goes on sale and we just buy the games because they're there, because it's on sale, because whatever, and nobody plays them. I hear people talk all the time about how they got hundreds of games in their library they haven't touched. They haven't even touched. I know I own it somewhere. I got it. I'll get to it eventually. No, you won't.
No, you're not. You really won't.
That damaging to the industry.
I will never
You
let
understand
it
what I'm
get to
saying?
me.
Because it's not like that publisher really made any money when you bought that game for $2 and the original price on it was 30, 40, 60. Like they didn't. And again, Steam's taking a percentage of that $2. You know what I'm saying? If Steam's taking 80, taking 20, and you get 80, even if it's a better percentage than what Microsoft's giving you, how is that? And like we give extra kudos. We talked about how like Epic is giving a higher percentage of the return to the developers, right? When you buy from Epic, you know what I'm saying? Instead of the regular 70-30 cut where they take 30% or whatever, they're actually only taking 20% and giving the developer 80%, which is great, right? So here's my other thing. Because in all the fallout of this also, and as Microsoft continues to be like, yo, I'm about to grab this and grab that, and we putting ourselves on all this and everything is an Xbox, right? Hold on. Sosa says my Switch catalog is so backlogged, I haven't finished Fire Emblem Engage, and that's my favorite franchise. That's crazy.
Oh, hey, listen. They got me with 3 houses. Listen, they got me with 3 houses.
Me too.
I never bought Engage. It went on sale. It went on no. It said it went on sale for $20. And I hit you up and I was like, yo, Sin, that Fire Emblem Engage is $20. Say no more.
I pre-ordered it right. I pre-ordered it right up there and got it. I haven't touched it yet. It's just sitting on my Switch.
Dog, you know what I started playing? You know what I started playing? The other jump, 3 Hopes. So they released that, and listen. They released that jump and did a demo for it. The demo is like the whole, like gigantic, like the first chapter of the game. I haven't even finished it, and that's just
Here's what's crazy. Metaphor ReFantazio last year.
That
joint came downloaded. Talking about it. I bought that joint because I was like, yo, I gotta do it. Bought the joint, and then like 2 months after I bought it, the joint's in Game Pass.
Game Pass.
Shut up, jokes. And so like, either way, I have been touched. I played the demo and was like, I gotta get this joint. I haven't played it. I have not touched it. So like, there's a combination of things that are like, 1, there are too many games to play. 2, there are too many good games to play. 3, there are way too many sales on games that are good that I like and I'm interested in. Even games that I'm like, it didn't review but so well, but at that price,
Outlaws,
right?
Hey, you can have that $5.
It's about
I
to
wouldn't normally spend the money on it, but I'll play it, right? And if I like it, I'm having a good time, I might grab the DLC or, you know, whatever it is, right? Steam sale. This game is on sale, the DLC is maybe regular price or, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, and maybe the developer makes some money on the back end that way. If Microsoft is doing this thing where they're like, everything's an Xbox, and they're like pulling back on hardware. If you recall, let's go back a couple of years to Apple, Google versus Apple with Microsoft, and the issue being that Apple owns a monopoly because of what they have with their store and the amount of money that they are taking when they shut. Remember, they did the whole thing with Fortnite. And Fortnite was like, no, we should be able to sell our own stuff. And so the whole thing about that was Apple has such a lock, right, in the App Store, right, with no competition, that when they say we're taking 30% of your amount and you're not allowed to sell through us for yourself or whatever in any way, we have to take it, that's monopolistic. And when they made not just Phil Spencer from Xbox, but they also made Jim Ryan from Sony come and take the stand and talk about the fact that they do the same thing. While they were also saying it's not fair what Apple does, right? Xbox takes a 30% cut of the games that are on the store. Sony takes a 30% cut of the games that are on the store. Do you remember what the reason why they said they did that and it was okay for them to do that versus what Apple does?
No, I can't recall.
It was because they take a loss on the hardware when they sell the hardware. And so the percentage that they take when they sell something in their store offsets the cost of what they're losing on the hardware when they sell the hardware. Apple, on the other hand, doesn't ever take a loss on their hardware. Everything is always sold at full price. You just pay it over time or whatever it is, but they're certainly making a profit on the product that they're selling, and then you're in their ecosystem and they're taking, additional monies. That was the reasoning behind it. If Microsoft continues to create a platform for itself, which is what it seems like it's really doing. This is the platform. This is an Xbox. Let's get the OS in front of people. Let's put it on everything. We want it on your TV, put it on your phone, put it on whatever. Even if the price of games doesn't come down, there is, I can see, a world where the share that they take of the profit changes, and they give more to the developer because they can afford to, because they don't have to offset the cost of the hardware when Asus is making the hardware, when Meta is making the hardware, and just their name and their software is on it and or is in it. If you think about it, Steam, the pricing for games on Steam is lower. So if the games are lower and the percentage they give to developers is higher, the amount of money they might be making is possibly about the same, right? If I sell you a game for $70 on an Xbox or a PlayStation, and I take a 30% cut of that, and I sell your game, that same game, for $50 on PC, and I take a 20% cut of that instead, right? I'm selling it for less. The percentage that I'm taking and that I'm getting is less. The overall amount of dollars that you're getting is less / about the same, right? Like if you kind of look at it and do the math from that perspective. So the possibility, again, as Microsoft continues to put themselves in a position to allow you to buy, play Steam games on their product, which is what's happening anyway. If you are playing Steam games, 90% of the time, you are playing it across Microsoft's software. You're not playing it on their hardware, but you are playing it 98% of the time on their software. Because if you're running Steam, generally most people are running it in Windows on whatever you're playing it on. That's just, I believe that the video game industry is in trouble. I don't think there's any two ways about that. I believe that the video game industry is struggling to find its footing, but I think that's a thing that's across all of entertainment. I don't think it's specific to any one thing that some company is trying in order to, one, save itself, two, make it better / easier. Again, as pricing goes up, here's a way for you to get in and play and have something, right? And do something and do it wherever you want. And I think that model is one that other places maybe are going to mimic. On that note, probably the really big news last week was, Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox. Sin,
I'm ready to dive.
Did you ever think?
No. Like a wish, a hope. You just throw out there like, hopefully one day it does come to Xbox and we're able to join in the fun and play with the whole community. You know what I mean? But it's under Sony, so you didn't think that was going to happen. And like you said, lo and behold, last week the announcement was made that we are getting Helldivers 2. We get to join in the fight.
You remember me saying that eventually Sony was going to do it.
Yeah.
That the kind of money that Sony is seeing, even though MLB publishes MLB The Show, the kind of money they're seeing, right, coming from Xbox, even though it's not, the numbers aren't as high as whatever, but it's still dollars.
But it's, yeah,
And
still,
otherwise,
yeah,
you're not getting it all.
yeah.
And does it make sense for you to just say we don't want those dollars? You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know, what do you mean you don't want those dollars? You know what I'm saying?
It's sitting right there. It's
Right
right
there.
there.
It's a pool. Like literally, you can
All you have
just
to
dive over and
flip the switch. That's all you have to do is flip the switch.
it's always what it is.
Look, when I said when they said we're going after this initiative that is we're doing a bunch of online service games, whatever, which hasn't been working at all
True.
It hasn't.
for Sony, right?
And Helldivers
If
hit.
you're gonna do that, you need the most players you can get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Helldivers should have been much more successful than it was. And you had it in the two biggest places that most people would say you could have it, PC and PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
But you left the community out that
Woo. Well, this is what
if
we
it's
do.
one thing they do,
This is what we do. This is what we're known for here.
that's what, you know what I mean?
Bring
Here's
the
the
bugs
thing.
here.
This is the first game, and probably not the last.
Mhm.
This is the first game that is published by PlayStation going on an Xbox console.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, it's so incredible, dog. Like if you go on your Xbox and you watch the trailer for Helldivers, you get the Xbox logo, and then the PlayStation.
Let the Joe follows behind it.
the trailer, and at the end of the trailer, you get the Xbox logo. Like, and for real, dog, who cares?
Not at all.
Done. We're getting the game. That's all that matters.
Now, jokes.
Yo.
Why you laughing, Sam?
Just I'm guessing where you're going. That's all.
Jokes.
Yo.
Is there any significance to the fact that the release date for Helldivers 2 is the same day as the release date for Gears of War Reloaded, an Xbox franchise going to PlayStation for the first time?
That's the trade-off.
A
So it-
co-op, multiplayer, guns blazing, fighting an alien invasion. Any significance to that?
that was the trade-off.
What are we doing? I'm going to ask you a question. What are we doing? Are we playing Gears of War with our PlayStation brethren over again and bringing them over like, yep, this is what we do. You didn't know. Now you're going to know. Or are we hell diving day one like, yo, we got to do this. What do you do?
I think this is hell.
What do you think the community is going to do?
Hey, listen, Xbox. Hey, I was reading they talking about like. Did you see the thing about like the PlayStation players are talking about like squatting up against Xbox players as they get into this jump?
I saw that.
Yeah,
I didn't, but I don't care.
I think that'd be funny. Don't let they do that stuff, and then the Xbox players end up owning them. That'd be funny. But we're supposed to be in this together. We have to save that world
Gotta
together.
kill the bugs. Kill the robots. They all gotta go. They're taking over the galaxy. We gotta push them back.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, I am positive that because the game was already a PC game, because there was such an outcry from the PC players being like, yo, let Xbox in here. Then the PlayStation players being like, yo,
bring them in.
let Xbox in, right?
They were going through them first few months. Oof.
Also knowing that you have a $40 title.
Yeah.
Right? That just sold incredibly well and could sell incredibly well. Also, at some point, right? If you're PlayStation, you getting a little bit of throw up in your mouth every month when you look at the numbers for the best-selling games on PlayStation, and they're all
Heck,
Xbox games. Forza Horizon, Sea of Thieves, just dominating the PlayStation track, right? Over the PlayStation titles. You have to remember that even though Helldivers was a big deal last year, there was a lot of nostalgia in the PlayStation world for Gears of War, whether you realize it or not, because so many people who are PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 players are people who were Xbox 360 players.
60 players.
And they jumped to PlayStation during Xbox One, which was a terrible era for Xbox. And people who could pick one or the other and didn't do both and jump ship. So many people jump ships from Xbox to PlayStation when PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out, that there are a lot of people who have a lot of nostalgia for the very first Gears of War. And there are a lot of people who are going to be ready to drop that money and play that game day one, especially if they've already played Helldivers. As a matter of fact, there are people who may not have even touched Helldivers, but remember Gears and will be like, yo, I'm in there. And that might actually lead to sales for Helldivers.
Yeah.
There is a space where this community can continue. Like, imagine it wasn't Xbox and PlayStation. It was that these two games came out at the same time, right? There was a, you know how you kind of see games do that, right? Like you see a game like, I don't know, what was that? Evolve, right? That's the 5-on-1 kind of thing. And then you start to see all these other games that are doing the same thing. And Evolve didn't necessarily do great, but there are other games like it that came out and did pretty well. A lot of them still exist now. Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, and, you know, whatever, right? Those asymmetrical games that exist, right? Where you're playing cooperatively against one other person who's playing against you or whatever, right? Those kinds of things exist, right? And those things are on multi-platform. They're all over the place. And when you're playing on PC, you just say, I play PC. You don't say, I play on an Asus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not like, you know, like, even if that's your preferred brand or if that's your preferred, you know what I mean? Like, I don't hear people going, I mean, I'm sure there are people who are like, no, the Intel processor is the one to go with. Dude, like, nah, I mean, it's not having that kind of a brand loyalty in like your PC build or whatever doesn't really bleed into, because you're so likely to run into a game that runs great on whatever your rig is and then run into another game that doesn't, that runs better on somebody else with the exact same specs, but somebody else made the parts or whatever it is, right? So I just think that there's this place where like that bleed over is really kind of coming to fruition and it's starting to happen. And I think the only team that really is looking like they're not going to play ball is probably Nintendo.
Yeah.
They
You know what I
got their
mean?
own lane. They just stick to it.
I'm going to be honest. I think eventually Nintendo's going to do it. Not that Nintendo doesn't make enough money. But at some point, somebody at that company is going to look at it and be like, why are we leaving so much money on the table? Right? Like Nintendo makes a lot of money in their hardware and they never drop the price of their software. But if they might not be able to continue to sell hardware the way they do if they change their model, right? Like right now, the model that Nintendo runs, the model that most video game companies have run, the model that Sony has always run has been one of proprietary pieces of software, right? Like, but they've also always run on a proprietary hardware thing, right? So like, you know, you buy a Sony camera, you need a Sony battery. You buy a Sony camera, you need a Sony memory
card.
stick,
Yep,
a regular memory card or whatever, right? That's the way they do it, right? And then they jack the price way up, and you don't have any choice but to buy it. It is a monopoly in and of itself that keeps you in the ecosystem. It's exactly the same as what Apple does. It's a very smart business model, but people hate it, right? Because it limits what their choices are, and it allows you to jack the price way up, right? You already know, okay? You know what I'm saying? Squad up. Nintendo's in the same spot, right? Nintendo's got these incredible franchises that have these storied histories that people are like, yo, you gotta have a Nintendo system in order to play this game, right?
Yeah.
Andrew says Nintendo don't play well with other console platforms. You're not wrong. However, there has been, I mean, look, there have been changes that I would never have expected to see, like just allowing for even having Banjo, even though it used to be like it was a Nintendo franchise, like having Banjo show up in Smash Brothers is like that's still an Xbox property. It's still a Microsoft property, no matter how you slice it. You know what I mean? Whatever the deal they worked out with GoldenEye, that for whatever reason allowed it to play online on Switch, but not online on Xbox. Crazy. Whatever. But there are things that have happened, and it's kind of crazy. There was a time when Nintendo wouldn't let anybody else touch their franchises, and now you have companies that allow, like they allow companies. If they was going to do that, they should have done it when the Kinect was cranking.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? I can't even imagine. I literally said to Zayna yesterday, like, can you imagine if Dance Central was still cranking the way K-pop is popping right now?
Hey, listen, I'm surprised. You know what? I'm surprised. Like, it takes a lot more to go in. Like, Guitar Hero, obviously, it's just the frets on the thing. But if they had to go in and create dances where they could mod it and then add in like the different songs and stuff and add dances, that joint would still be killing. You know what? I've never looked that up. It could be a thing.
I mean,
but
I know that there
it.
are like Just Dance, like, you know, I'm sure has some K-pop and they actually have the people dancing. All they really do is rip the dances directly from the K-pop videos. But I'm just saying, like, there is a world where I think Nintendo, at some point, somebody's gonna be like, bro, we leaving a lot of money on the table. We leaving a lot of money on the table.
Hey, listen.
It was, oh my God, Central goated. Facts. Facts. If there was any reason to own a Kinect, that was it. Harmonix, bro, out there getting it,
crushing,
dog.
yeah,
crushing, dog. Yeah, I mean, look, it might take some time.
That's gonna be. Hey, right? Listen, you know what? That's gonna end up getting added to Fortnite. They can end up adding the dance joint inside of Fortnite, and it end up making
because everything, including your cell phone that plays Fortnite, has a camera on it already. You can hook up any camera to us. You can hook up any USB, almost any USB camera to a Switch to.
Hey, yo, stamp that joint. Like that's like within the next year. Stamp that joint.
Don't even. You know, I mean, you're not wrong. It might be time again. You know what I'm saying? For that joint to come back. Nintendo could play ball. Money talks. It does. Not all money talks. Again, it's not like Microsoft didn't try to buy Nintendo for like $25 billion or whatever it was. Before the GameCube even came out, just being like, yo, y'all should make games for us. And then when they couldn't do it, they just bought Rare. I'm just saying, like, you know. Look, I'm what's the next game from PlayStation that comes to Xbox?
God of War.
Remember that like Helldivers is not a PlayStation first party developer. It was published by them, and they are publishing it on Xbox. So it's not the same thing as getting like Uncharted or getting like Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei. It's not the same as that. Still, they're publishing it. And again, as the publisher, Microsoft is the biggest publisher on the planet now. And they're seeing the most money. They're making the most money on PlayStation right now. Like, they're just out doing everybody. So clearly there's Bungie, which is a bit of an exception. But like, if they want Marathon to be successful, It has to be on everything, and it's already planned. The plan was already for it to come to Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that feels like there is somebody at PlayStation who's going, you know, that last game we put out that we pulled back in like 2 weeks might have done better if it was also on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Like just in that world, like there's somebody who's going, look, we can't. It is so difficult to sustain the cost of what it takes to make a game now. Exclusivity, when you are continuing to see third-party publishers say, we're not doing deals anymore for just one, like for a title just on one, like it doesn't make sense. We're not doing console exclusives anymore. We're not like, that's a big deal. And I mean, it's not that it's not happening. Like again, whatever that new, I can't remember the name of the title that's coming to Switch 2, from the makers of Elden Ring. Strange, co-op, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Again, it is still only coming to Switch 2, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the days of like putting something out that would have just been on like the Game Boy Advance or on the DS, where like you would have a developer just develop a version of a game or just develop a game that was only there and that's where your market was. It's just very different. K Dizzle said there's no point in console exclusives, truthfully. There was a point. I mean, the point is to get people to buy your console.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Technically. But like, if for all intents and purposes, Microsoft, Xbox is saying, we're not really in that race anymore. Like, that's just not what we're doing. Right? Like, we lost the console race. We're number 3. We're always going to be number 3. We're playing a different game now, right? We're going to publish our games wherever people want to play. We're going to put them out there so people can get their hands on them. We're going to make sure that anybody that has a thing that has the name of our thing on it can play whatever games they own, except if they're PlayStation or except if they're, because they're the only ones who don't want to play ball. It starts to make you look bad, right? And yeah, it does mean that if you have a PlayStation, you can play those games, but like, if you have an Xbox and that allows you access to Steam, and eventually PlayStation is going to put their games on Steam, and you're going to get those games at some point anyway, starts to make more sense to just get an Xbox, whatever that Xbox is, whoever makes that Xbox, right? So if you are leaving money at the door by saying like, we don't want our games on your platform, that's I don't know. I mean, again, it's Arrowhead Studios. It's not like it's Naughty Dog, but there's a part of me that's like, I don't know, dog. Like, is Intergalactic, the next big game from Naughty Dog, going to be a system seller? Because I don't know that I believe in system sellers anymore. Is the new Donkey Kong game the system seller for the Switch 2? Or is it Mario Kart World? You know what's crazy is that, Jokes, I know you got a Switch 2 on the day they came out. I've not heard you say one word about that joint. You haven't talked about playing it. You haven't talked about liking it or not liking it. It's not even in the like, you're not even speaking on it because it's just another Switch. It's just like what you had. That's what
I'm playing. Crazy enough, like I played Mario. I played it on and off. Mario Kart World is cool. I'm playing everything else on that joint because you know what? That joint is nice, crispy, and smooth comparison to what it was on the original Switch. Like we were just talking about
playing your Switch games backwards compatibly and letting them be up-resed or whatever it is through the joint, as if instead of buying a Switch 2, you bought an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to, right? It's really kind of just the next iteration that plays the same games a bit better, right? And has a few extra bells and whistles that probably most people aren't really going to mess with. So under that circumstance, with the way I think things are going now, and adopting a model that just says, look, every year they're going to put out a new iPhone. You don't get a new iPhone every time it comes out. You wait and maybe get yours in the 2 years when your contract is done or when you pay for whatever, and you upgrade to the next thing because the next thing's coming, right? Because generally, whatever that next one is, isn't enough of a difference from the one you just got for it to be worth it for you to do it, right? But like, in 2 years, not even necessarily that it's that much better, but in 2 years when my battery's a little wonky and my storage is
you'll be able to
Yeah.
kind of see and feel the difference between them at that
whatever,
point.
then you're doing it. You're not even really doing it because like like the one you're getting is that much better. You're doing it because the one you have just don't quite work like it used to. That's kind of where we are, right? The Switch can run games that come out on it, but not as well as a new joint. That's, you know what I'm saying? That's where we are. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, but I can tell you that 10 years ago, I would have never told you that this is the future we'd be in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Crazy.
saying? Like, and I'll be honest, I blame COVID. I think that's what did it. COVID changed everything. It changed the entertainment industry completely. Right? The amount of money that was being made by people stuck at home, starting to play games that never played games or started playing games again and never played games, that were watching all kinds of movies and would subscribe to any service that had money to burn because they couldn't go on vacations and they like weren't paying for gas, weren't getting repairs done on their cars or changing their oil or whatever. Like all that additional money that people had that they were using, they were burning on entertainment, ballooned the entertainment industry in all aspects, and now the bubble has popped because people want to go outside, and now that they can go outside, they're trying to figure out how to take that entertainment with them when they go, and the only option used to be, for real, whatever Nintendo made that was portable. And now the Steam Deck was like, hold my beer. Yep, like for real. K Dizzle said, other than nostalgia, what are we buying the Switch 2 for? What super strong IP is pulling the system? Well, again, that's why I'm at, like it ain't Donkey Kong, and I'll keep it a buck. I love Metroid, but I like real Metroid, and when I say real Metroid, I mean side-scrolling Metroidvania Metroid. Metroid Prime is a big game. A lot of people love it, but it's not a system seller. It doesn't even do crazy numbers. Like those games don't do crazy numbers. They don't even come close to doing what Smash or almost any Mario game does. Like they don't come close to doing those. You could put out a Mario Tennis right now, and that joint will beat the brakes off of whatever Metroid you give them.
That's 100%.
Because realistically, the people who like first person shooters, like really like first person, don't play Metroid Prime. Like that's not a real first person shooter. And if you really want to play a Metroidvania, you want a side-scrolling Castlevania, you will play Prince of Persia. You will play
like that last one they put out, where you like get hunted around.
Yeah. Like, and I'm not saying that Metroid Prime isn't good. It was good enough for them to make 3 of them and do a full
Right.
True. You know what I'm saying? But that's about how much. That's about how much money they spent making it, right? Like to get it, and I do think, truthfully, I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be incredible. I think that there are going to be people who like it. But I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, the only reason why Metroid Prime 4 is even on the radar is because of that stupid mouse feature on the Switch 2. That's it. Every time Nintendo puts something out, they got to put out a joint with a gimmick that uses the new gimmick they built into the system. That's it. Once you Switch so like crazy, nobody cares about that game. Nobody. I'm not saying nobody had fun playing it. Anybody who did was drunk. You can have a great time. You know what I'm saying? But like at the end of the day, yes, you have to have something, some sort of a quote unquote killer app that tells you why you need the hardware. And Nintendo always has to have that. Microsoft didn't worry about that until they did Kinect. And then they got so excited and bogged down by it, they made you do it with the Xbox One, right? PlayStation did it with their last controller, which was probably the smartest thing they ever did. Because people rave about the haptics if they care about it. Most people don't even know the difference. They cannot tell you the difference in the haptic feedback in the controller versus any other controller. They can't tell you. Most people have no idea. If they don't show it to you directly, like, oh, if you play the little joint on 1-2 switch and you do the HD rumble, you can feel the ice cubes rolling around inside the joint. Well, I'm not ever going to do that again. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like those kinds of things, those gimmicky things that are like, yes, this is how cool it is, and this is what it can do. Like, can you feel the tension in the bow when you shoot a bow and arrow? Yes. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you played a game with a bow and arrow in it? That's TFU. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's just those kind of things, they always exist. I'm not mad about it. I get it. We have to have the thing that shows what you can do, but a lot of times we end up with a game that's basically a tech demo. Right? For the thing that, you know, is what it's supposed to be. And I will tell you that new Donkey Kong joint looks incredible. I really, really thought about it. I was like, yo, jokes. I need to know what you think of that joint because I might have to get a Switch too. Because that Donkey Kong joint looks it just looks. Here's the thing, bro. One of my favorite games of all time, low key, Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Bro, that Donkey Kong joint looked like Hulk Ultimate Destruction on bananas and steroids, dog. You hear me?
Bananas and steroids.
That's a combo.
I'm just saying, that's what it looks like. Like you could just break anything and do what you want. But I'm gonna tell you what. Nintendo's always so late to the party. Dog, I did that joint in Red Faction on PlayStation 2.
That used to be my game.
Oh my God, Red Faction.
I played it.
It's cool that you can do it with Donkey Kong. But it's not unheard of.
Right.
It's not really new. It's not. But dog, if you're 7 right now and somebody puts that joint in your hands, bro, you have never experienced. You've never experienced. Like, it just isn't. Listen to me. If that joint is as magical, Heather said, I've been turning off haptics since PS2. I get why people like it, though. Heather, listen. If you like your buzzing somewhere else other than on your controller, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's fair. She's like, I get why some people like it. Me too. I get why some people like it too. Look, jokes. What's the first game you ever remember playing?
Oh,
I know you just had birthday jokes. It wasn't that long ago, man. Come on.
Oof. First game I ever remember playing.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's got to be one of the Marios on the OG Nintendo.
Okay. So
It's got to be
like Mario 2.
Mario. I feel like for me, it may have been Mario 3. Probably.
Got it.
I think would have probably been. You know what? It may have been Duck Hunter.
Yeah, it got to be because you just said that wrong. I don't even know what that game is.
Or is it? I don't remember the name of it.
I've never heard of that.
Duck Hunt, whatever it was. I don't remember the name of it because I had. Like, listen,
I
don't remember. Damn it.
Doug Hunt. Like, who's Doug? Doug Hunt.
I don't know because I had the gun and the attachment and everything. With the OG. Yep.
It might have been Duck Hunt.
It was probably one of the two. It was between the two of those. It was either Mario 3 or Duck Hunt. I don't know which one of the two.
Okay, I'll take that. Let me ask you a question. On some Duck Hunt, what's the best gun game? Like,
having a gun?
Oh yeah. What's the best joint you ever played? Home console.
Which joint did I have? I had a joint. Oh, was that PS2? Because I actually that may have been. Was that Time Crisis? I can't think of which one. It may have been like Time Crisis 3.
Were you standing? Did you have to step on the controller? Like I don't, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yes.
Oh,
You had
Yeah,
to
it was
step
Time
on the
definitely
Crisis.
jump.
Time Crisis.
Yeah, it was Time
Yeah,
Crisis.
I know it's a Time Crisis. I just don't remember which one it was because it took up both parts in the PlayStation. Like when you plugged it in, it had to take the
Mm-hmm.
controller part in. Was the memory card? I don't remember which one it plugged into,
You
but
had
it
to
took.
have both. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Did you have the gun that actually had the kick to it?
I don't think mine's had the kickback.
Mm,
It
mm.
may. I don't. Honest now that I don't remember.
Sam, what's the best light gun game you ever played?
Oh, Time Crisis.
Is it for real?
Time Crisis. Yeah, I've
All
always
right.
been a big Time Crisis fan. Yeah.
I mean, I like Time Crisis, but I don't
Yeah.
think that joint was better than Virtual Cop.
Virtual Cop was dope. Virtual Cop's my number 2. The Time Crisis is
Okay.
definitely my number 1.
I mean, you didn't say House of the Dead.
No,
Anyway, that's cool.
that falls under them. That falls under them. Like honorable mention type of thing.
Maybe, yeah. Kind of fluke.
Yeah.
We need some light gun games again. We gotta do something about these TVs that don't work with light gun games. We need some
Yeah.
light gun games, dog.
On a big massive TV, yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Get it popping. Yeah.
What? Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Um,
imagine being able to like rent out a theater and be able to hook that joint up to like a theater jump.
I mean, we can rent out the theater, but a duck hunt ain't gonna work.
No.
That ain't gonna work.
Duck hunters ain't gonna fly.
No, duck hunters ain't gonna fly. Not at all. All right, look, man, it's time to close the show. We did get an announcement. There's going to be a state of play on Thursday for Ghosts of Yote. What do you think we're going to learn?
Gameplay mechanics.
I would say that's maybe a
Okay.
release date. Do we have a release date for that?
We do not have a
No.
release date, I don't believe.
I
They
feel like
gotta
we
give
would
us-
probably. I feel like we would get the release date.
Is there going to be a Legends mode, an online mode?
I hope so, because the last one was so
That would
good.
be cool.
I hope so.
Okay. I think if they don't have one, it's going to sell less.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
if you remember, eventually they did like Grand Theft Auto Online, and they spun the Legends joint out, and you could buy it separately without buying Ghost of Tsushima. You could just get the Legends and play the online if you wanted to. So I would imagine that if they saw enough happening in that they spun it off and allowed it to be sold, if the numbers were even halfway decent,
Mm-hmm.
They'll spin the block with it, yeah.
Again, after the way that they kind of seem to be pulling back on their initiative to do online multiplayer stuff, if they were doing it, they might have been like, nope, let's scrap that. It's gonna cost too much, or whatever. But if they have a decent plan for making money on it, if they need to do it down the road, probably a good idea. Probably
True.
a good idea.
That was a good
We'll see.
mode.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do in it that's different than the last one. I was not a big fan of the last game. I know a lot of people were. I don't actually feel like it felt great to play. Like the moment to moment combat of it didn't feel great. We played that Legends.
Oh yeah.
Online was cool. I didn't mind it. It was cool, but I just didn't. It didn't quite feel good to me. Like it doesn't. I would say that I prefer the way the combat feels in the most recent Assassin's Creed to what Ghost of Tsushima was. That being said, I would be highly looking forward to seeing what ways they've improved that combat,
Mm-hmm.
changed it, stepped it up, or whatever. Like, I could pretty easily be sold on it. Like, the game was beautiful. I like the idea and the concept of the game. Story was cool. It wasn't, and that's not to say I don't think the gameplay was bad,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
but in a game like that, that kind of hinges. Yes, the story is important, but like that hinges on like we're doing sword combat. I wanted to feel the way I feel like it should feel when you do it, and to
Mm.
me, it's also going to be hard, kind of, to do that when you have so many like new games that are coming that are like reaching back to that nostalgia. Like I come from a place where like you hit a button and the impact means a thing, whether that's a side scrolling beat 'em up or it's a Metroidvania or whatever. And when you got like a new Shinobi joint coming and a new Ninja Gaiden joint coming, that combat kind of needs to be where it needs to be. Like it still needs to feel like really good to play it and to accomplish or to even to lose. Like needs to
Mhm.
feel like needs to feel good. So we'll see. I'll
Gotcha.
be interested in seeing what it is. We'll talk about it next week.
Same here. So I destroyed the
Um,
first one, so I'm looking forward to this one.
yeah, I mean, I do need. I'm down to finish it, but again, my backlog is incredible because they just be putting stuff on sale, and then there's
All of
Game
ours
Pass.
are incredible. Yes.
Yeah, like just again, the industry is just giving us so much to play.
I'm backlogging right now.
100%, 100%. I see you backlogging, and
Yep.
I'm like, and then like I'm not playing games that I've been playing for 13 years.
Yeah.
I be on GTA.
Oof. Gotta scratch that itch. Gotta get some
You know
monies.
what I'm saying? Jokes, how much money you got in GTA? Do you
Honestly,
know?
don't know.
You got your
Last time I
oppressor
looked,
yet?
no, I don't. I don't have a press. I know I was building up. I think I
Have a
may
what?
have like
He don't got
a
his oppressor
presser.
yet.
He definitely don't have enough money for a pressure. I
Yeah,
know that.
nah. I feel like because I did a couple things. I may be sitting on like 3 mil right now. Maybe. I think from when we was
That
trying to
means you're
get to the.
close though, because I think the joint's like 4.
Yeah, I think it's like 6 normally, but whatever you had to unlock to get like the extra discount, I don't think I unlocked whatever that is. So I can't get that extra discount on the oppressor. I have to pay the normal price on it right now.
All right, well let's figure it out. But yeah,
And
I mean,
I got a heist ready to go too. So
that's gonna do Sense some good, but it ain't gonna do you no good because you ain't gonna
uh,
really make no good money doing it.
Yeah,
You need to prep one
I gotta
yourself
set it up. Yep.
because we'll
We
go in there and knock
started.
the joint out. You can make some good, you know what I'm saying, some good bread. Um, yeah, I'm pulling in stupid money right now just because that car wash just be letting all the money come into the one joint. So crazy. All right, listen. We are so looking forward to seeing y'all next week. Again, please check out the Spoiler Boys for Ironheart. The movie of the month this month is Upgrade. It's on Netflix. So take a look. So you'll be ready for that discussion. Drop your comments in when that goes live. And look for our Spoiler Boys. We need that. Oh, Cuddy said he need that mansion money. No doubt. Cuddy, you got that mansion money. Stop playing.
facts.
You both need that mansion money. And look for our Spoiler Boys on Superman to go live this weekend. It will hit Patreon first, and then it'll go live for everybody else. But we're gonna have to have a good discussion about Superman. The reviews are coming in, and people are enjoying. K. Dill said, "Dope movie, dope episode." Dig it. Um, let's give them the rundown, jokes. There's a lot of wrestling happening this week.
Oh,
You're on fire.
there's a lot of wrestling happening this weekend. AEW, we got their biggest show of the year, All In, happening. Right behind that, we have WWE Saturday night's main event. Then
Yeah.
followed up on Sunday, we have WWE Evolution, the all women's pay per view.
Mhm.
Um, there's a lot of stuff going down. So
Oh,
expect to see some
NXT.
stuff.
NXT
Oh,
as well.
not to mention
Yeah,
NXT.
Great American
That
Bash.
that's Great American Bash is happening. It's like that's going to be playing against something. So
I think against AEW.
All In, it's got to
Yeah,
be
against
against
All
All In,
In. Yeah, yeah.
and All In's going to be damn near like 7 hours probably.
Minimum, knowing them.
Ridiculous. Soon we got a new episode of Anime Chat going live on Thursday.
Thursday, 10 a.m. Correct. The summer season has started rolling out, so we do give our takes on the ones that kind of already dropped, but it'll be a couple weeks until all of them are like fully out and running. So pay attention for that. But this week, very news heavy. Anime Expo was this weekend. A lot of news came out of that, so we cover all of that. So Shonen Jump had a little thing this past weekend as well, so we cover the stuff from there. Also, Patreon people, we watch a bunch of trailers just for you, not everybody else. So y'all have that to look forward to, and we also get into popular debates in anime and which ones need to be retired. Like it's overdone at this point. So that's what we talk about this week.
Dig it. All right, folks. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. It's always crucial to have you here. Again, you guys, y'all make the chat. Y'all make it worth it. You know what I mean? Because we can certainly have this conversation amongst ourselves without y'all here, but having y'all here, it means the world. So thank you for being here. Jokes, tell the people what I need them to know.
Remember, y'all, just because of a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and lose.